couldn't go any other way.
All right, well, let's see how this all shakes out. My goodness, what a roller coaster this has been. Brennan Sideshow, have fun.
Oh, you know me. I mean, listen, man, listen. It's incredible these two teams agreed to the gentleman's agreement to have the final map be played as a deathmatch. But yeah, I am buzzing and looking forward to this one here because this is two teams. They rive in the mud. That word was getting tossed around quite a bit on the desk.
Certainly was.
And they love to clash and fight here.
Well, here's a big clash happening towards A Rubble to begin. And with both of these compositions, I'm looking at them. It looks like EDG should have a big advantage in any Rubble fights.
Yeah. Already seeing it. It's a flash to try and set them up nice and early here, but a nade cuts out the rest of Kangkang's team. EDG.
And PaperX decide not to commit. They're looking to not even really trap, because otherwise you'd be expecting Mindfreak to be playing at that door. They're looking to just go for a 5-person re-clear.
And it's being held. There's almost an expectation of it from EDG with a Paranoia crossing its way up. And the noise cut. EDG, advantages to be found and had here, especially when the shots don't land and find that mark with Kangkang. He's doing entirely all that here. Aftershock into the corner, it's beautiful! And set the stage. And our map 3 into motion for EDG. They were so damn aware.
Yeah, that's such a sick read from EDG. The call there to completely hide, wait for PaperX to re-clear, and notice that even when PaperX are re-clearing, they don't trigger the fight. They only trigger the fight when the dog is used, when they realize that they're not just going to leave. EDG wanted the A site without any fuss. They didn't want to cause any trouble, but PaperX had to decide to take the fight, so they made them pay.
Now with the guns in their hands as well, once more, same beginning. Doors opened up though.
I think the reason that PaperX have changed their composition, by the way, to one that they used to run in the past, is because they're facing the Neon, Double Initiator, Clove. EDG's comp should want to go fast. It pushes a lot on the defense side as well. And so having those trips up, I guess PaperX are just thinking is more valuable than running the Double Duelist, Double Initiator comp that they were previously testing out.
Yeah, it can be incredibly good.
It's an old comp, though.
Heavy committal. This is Kangkang. He's trying to lock it down, but only 20 bullets into the clip. Luckily, he's got teammates and backup in spades. Nobody shuts down the eco round.
It gets fairly close to Nightfall. Probably won't have it online for round 3. So, looking like a bit of a dry bonus, but will have that for one of these potential swing rounds. At the end of the day, though, with all of our conversation around the compositions, I got to think back. The smartest man I know once said, "You get shot, you die," and he was quoting you.
Oh, so, well, how about that?
Yeah. Even some smart people will repeat what you say.
Exactly. Some signs of intelligent life coming from me. Nade up and over. This is PaperX opting into the fight. The skirmish once more, but with Jing toppling, falling, something, not able to evacuate. That was an updraft dash to survive, and Mindfreak is hard, committed! Can't reset the aim. Only the one player found from that one. Devigon re-exploring. Util out into the few hands of these players, but already he's got to be aware of it, and yet sees the barrel. So now he knows his timing taken against it, but the Prowler waiting it. No way, peek, not together, still it's there! The Forsaken lineup right behind him for EDG to barrel them over.
Brutal beginning to PaperX's Lotus. A map that they enjoy playing, but after how Sunset went, this is looking like a massive turnaround, a flip compared to map 1. EDG pick up pistol, pick up the bonus round. This is what catapulted them to success in the second half of Sunset.
And already
couldn't be more different reactions from the coaching staff.
Absolutely, the death slam, you know what that signifies? The timeout button being hit.
After 3 rounds.
Yep.
The tag timeout.
And again, I mean, when it comes to strategy, it could be something as simple as like, guys, stop trying to opt into this A-Rubble fight when you're getting outvalued util. It could also just be mentality. It could just be him trying to calm the nerves, but the reason this is absurd is because Alex has literally just had the opportunity to do that 3 rounds ago before they were in the map.
Yeah, but he's obviously not focused on a specific element that PaperX are then messing up, or just wants to reiterate something, get them back onto the right track. It is crazy early for a attack timeout like this, though, and I think that indicates the stakes in this kind of situation. Everything that we were talking about on Icebox, about it being bitter disappointment for EDG, them fighting to break through in China, getting overtaken, they can't go out in groups and have a year of bombing out, everything there also applies, perhaps even more, to prxvsedg.
It's mirrored, I think.
They used to fight for trophies. Been overtaken in Pacific, and now they might end up going out in groups here at Champs. A fate that they've met before. Though that did precipitate a roster change.
It certainly did. Once more EDG. Listen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Face your fear!
These A hits have been given access to the sites over and over again.
They realize it's a retake setup. They don't have very much retake utility on prxvsedg, so you've only got to worry about a Sky Flash and a Paranoia, really.
Trailblazer and the Boombot's already being used to try and...
Are they leaving?
Lay the path for prxvsedg, yeah. I mean, the util's already been used.
prxvsedg have read it. This is strange from EDG. They had the read, and now they're going into the stack.
Kang! Goodness me, close quarter combating. He's hoping and opting in for that upgrade, but it just opens his back up prime. Put a bullet to the back here, Smoggy. Also supplements off to the side, off angle from Divide, but not enough to stay alive, Simon! Goodness gracious me.
He has been so consistent for them in those tight situations, in the tough spots. Simon has been there already, paying dividends. The value that he's brought to this team. He's not always at the top of the scoreboard. He doesn't have the prettiest stats in the world, but he's good for big moments. That's an important asset for a new player to have. Bailed them out of a tough spot there. All smiles and laughter for Haodong, but that one got a little dangerous. And something has the off.
I mean, how do you even play this? The posture of the util, though, EDG faking like they've taken this A. Rubble control once more, this time walking into a different direction.
prxvsedg are leaving gaps all over the map.
B is open entirely, and it's being read by EDG. They're already into the fight. Sometimes... Yeah, I mean, Divide, spam down. What is that? Just into the corner, tucked. Maybe seeking to play spoiler. Nobody pushed back. Off and away from the plan. Once more, another tap. He's seeing if there's any more util. Well, that came from prxvsedg. Shut out entirely from this B site.
Planted.
The composition itself is just not situated for these retakes. The amount of util that they have is essentially gone. As soon as Divide falls, he gets taken out of the fight here. The Haunt dealt with something with the dash as well, but there's no value to be had. Nobody's giving him that fight. And what a call to make. It looks like they're just going for the save.
That's brutal.
Dude.
If you don't want to play these retakes, though, why are you putting all of your Cypher utility and your operator on the same site?
That's the question.
And leaving B completely open. They 3-stack C, they put their op and the Cypher A. So both of those sites, very difficult to crack into. And you could give credit here to EDG that they've been conditioning A fights over and over at the beginning of this game. So maybe prxvsedg felt comfortable in some degree that it wasn't just going to be a fast B hit. But if you do leave it open like that, there is no Viper wall you can put up to flash yourself in and try to isolate the entry. There's no
way.
No snakebite, no nanoswarm, nothing like that that you can use to try to isolate Kangkong from the rest of the team.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not saying no way at your analysis. It's all fine and dandy. I'm saying no way at this. It's a second timeout called for prxvsedg. We're in round 6 of map 3. It's an elimination game. It's the final game of groups. Your final path to playoffs for the final event of the year. And this signifies to me just a complete collapse.
Yeah, it's brutal that Alex feels like he has to hit the panic button after 3 rounds and then after 2 more. He just spoke to them. If you want to think about how prxvsedg's year has gone, a bit of a miracle run by their own words for them in Madrid to be able to make 3rd place. They got a podium finish, something they're very used to, had many of those last year. But they went from that 3rd, slipping down in Shanghai to a 5th, 6th, now looking like they might end up getting grouped here at Champs. Are they getting worse? Is there more competition? Is this a signifier that something doesn't work about their playstyle that they're going to have a reboot? All of these questions are going to be asked if indeed it plays out like this.
Yeah, swirling and circling around this team. Because it has to be pulled back here and now for prxvseg. There's no more time for the coaching staff. Alex to step back in.
This looks like a much more sensible defensive setup, though. I think Alex is already calling to spread out this stuff. Get the Cypher over C, get the op posted B.
What's going on here? Mindbreaker's just opened up the door wide here. The sightline called. Holding over the shoulder with the operator through to Mountain is called for this pause. EDG making sure to let these prxvseg players simmer. Time has been bought, though. Following the sound cues, prxvseg are in position to potentially take this fight forwards with the Boombot. Tagging it up into the corner. They're going to be aware that there's a player holding onto the corner into this angle with the Seekers and another flash to play themselves in. This time, the gunplay, it does come out for the goods, and they are winning the day, paving the way to a successful round. But Kangang's got something to say about it. Up and over the box, cannot stop Jing. Feeling empowered of the rest of his team behind him. They get that round on the board, eliminating the goose egg.
There's only two pieces of plant denial in prxvseg's comp. The nade and the showstopper when Jing has it online. So they've got to be more creative in ways of slowing EDG down. Instead of throwing utility to get ready to set up for a flood retake like that, they open the door, which slows EDG down and stops them from getting the plant until prxvseg are in position.
My ult's ready.
Beautiful end.
There you go.
There was still some anti-synergy even then, though, because they opened the door and popped the cage at the same time. So they cut off their own op sight line. Another rubble fight. You gotta be kidding me. EDG are gonna be loving this.
Yeah, mass pings all about here. Showstopper, no worries or concerns because of the rolling thunder still. Adjustment, Showstopper, the kills, and the bullets at least lay claim to the life of Chi-Chu, and now the rolling thunder to get EDG back in there. A bullet to the back of the head of Devi, could not evacuate in time.
Something trying to get aggressive on the flank.
And he's going to be finding it, Smokey. Standing his ground. So going to plug in the gaps potentially there, in case the flanks were online. Brought to that 3 versus 3. EDG now with that tempo increase. They want to speed this one up into the ace. And Jing, there's no way you're taking this, man. You have no teammates to back you up. You want to take the fight straight up. You could have waited. Still, Forsaken has been played in and does get that trade in play. Anticipation is there, but a shoulder peeking out is all something needs to claim and collect the kill with the dash now active once more. Putting a squeeze down, nobody surviving for a rainy day, but a wrap around, up and away. Heaven player expected, missing the timing is Forsaken, who grasps it.
A close one to get prxvseg's second onto the board. Forsaken saves the operator, and that push out from something made all the difference. He had to get that timing and punish EDG for not running a Sentinel in their composition. Otherwise, they had so many options to maneuver around the map. He forced EDG to speed up as soon as Smoggy went down. And then, you're right, Jing, it looked a little adventurous the first time, but eventually got that synergy working with Forsaken. Can EDG still be playing aggressive whilst covering the flanks? I was critical the last time they stacked their operator on the same side of the Cypher, but this time, at least they have that trip B, and they've made the right read.
Yeah. Flash and Haunted over as well, so something can't take that early. Line of sight angle, but now does the dash. The Prowler spotted! His head just poking clean out. It's taken off of his shoulders. Kangkang straight up in there, Jing wants to try and even this one out with a bullet flying forwards again. He has not been cleaned up, but he's trying to play his team back in, and Forsaken, he's dropped as a result of it. It's crumbled again here for prxvseg. Just trying to play fast and loose into the site. Flood anchoring the defense. Broken and crumbled. Devi with a trailblazer, spotting these players out with the paranoia. It's good to play themselves in, but Jing is caught, blinded up by it, and as the smokes fade away, there's no chance, no hope. It's Chicho with 3. Wraps up the round nice and pretty and puts that 6-1 down on the board here for EDG.
Kangkang is not going to get caught by an op play like that. He read it so well, got aggressive into the site, making space for the rest of the team, and prxvseg just didn't have that setup they needed to go for the retake.
Nice!
I am loving the Howdong. Wow! We've heard it a couple times now, and it's getting better and better. PaperX have 4 players over towards A. They want to control Rubble. They need that comfort that A is locked off. Their comp doesn't thrive with it though, and EDG have taken B instantly.
Full recognition of the gaps that the composition leaves open. A B plan, a slight tap from nobody, but now to commit! Oh! Something! He's so ahead of his team, they just can't quite play off of this one. There's a flash into the places again to push them back and away with the door open. Forsaken, not anticipating it. Fully blinded though to buy. Not willing to give up the sights, but smoked off, cut out of the picture. It's him against 3. No more money to buy for the next tier. A bitter pill to swallow, that you just have to save it away. Keep the rifle into the next, give up another round for EDG, because at this point, EDG, they are running away with it.
It might look like unorthodox compositions on both sides, but there could not be a bigger gap in terms of value from the picks at the moment. PaperX's defense, honestly, it's not been their stronger side on Lotus historically, so maybe you could throw some cope out there and say, oh, well, you know, if they get up to 4 or something and grab the pistol. But the trade came through so late, like even the small details. I love the movement from something. It's fantastic. That next player needs to be through the door immediately. You can't be waiting for the paranoia to come through or sync it up at the same time. It feels rusty from PaperX, like they've pulled an old comp out of the wardrobe and it's full of moth holes.
With those gaps as well. Holes, as you put it. It's EDG. Here, ready to try and capitalize. Simon, shredded with bullets. Calling for the reclear and backup.
There.
Kang spots one. Expecting some kind of bait and switch.
PaperX going for the old tried and tested here, just trying to follow these sound cues. Chichu denied that chance of any sort of information, but Kang's going to be dropped here. The stun was good! And already racking up the kills. His team happy to play off the back of it. An open sight once more.
Where are you?
Rifle in the hands of Mind Freak. Forsaken is very much isolated though, in through the sight as well. Shoulder spotted, nobody gets that information. Calls for the rest of his team here. Weapons are going to be picked up, but again in inevitability, EDG. Fault line. Just roots Forsaken out of spot. There's no safety to be held at the back of that site there. 8-2 EDG.
And they can feel it. What a recovery. What a turnaround. Losing map 1 13-3, and then kind of pasting PaperX on their own map pick, halting a 12-map win streak on Sunset, and now demolishing them on Lotus. The momentum could not be more one-sided. The scales have tipped thoroughly in EDG's favor. They go fake a rubble fight, hoping that they bait out a push over towards Mound. Jing doesn't bite. Not this time. Making the rotate himself over through Waterfall. Leaving C weak, leaving B weak, going to reinforce a site that EDG have no interest in.
And they're stacking over towards A. I mean, PaperX are doing this play when they already have a deep cam that's committed.
That's what I'm talking about. It's in no way refined, what we're watching from PaperX's defense. I think they've pulled this comp out because they thought it would be a good counter to EDG, and they're just not practiced enough with it. Not anymore. Maybe tides will turn on the attack side. Something, possibly, could have made me believe with that peak.
Just daring him to fight. Follow up past it. The camera's finally broken. And dealt with the buy. That's a peek off of his own flash. And you're just never going to be favored there. Too many positions to play the ante from. EDG once more. Roll out the red carpet at this point. It's easy access to these sites, and the retakes just have not been there. But PaperX will make a good go of things once more. This time out through the back. Satchel's in play. Attack from Simon. There's that uncertainty up and through. Not dead yet. Smoggy back into the fight and the fray, but the kills collected. Bodies toppled, falling. Smoggy needs to be given something here to play his teammate in, but nobody's now going to be that last one left. Into a 1v2 with 12 seconds. Whistled down to almost 0.
Left.
And 2 bullets left in the chamber. There's no more options. Has to stick it for any chance, and Forsaken knows it. Wrapping around, a third on the board here for PaperX. The question is it too little too late?
Before the switch.
These pre-takes are the only things working for prxvseg. They had many players heaven as the plant was going down, finally got the read that they were on the right side, and hit it with huge amounts of aggression. EDG didn't have anybody that deep that could really stop them. But like I said, that's the only thing that's been working for them.
Careful.
Can they find another option to do that? Can they make the showstopper turn into a round victory? An 8-4 half with a pistol. Suddenly, there may be a glimmer, a flicker of hope.
Salvageable. Forsaken's just opened up the door wide.
His cam's got a little bit of info.
Yeah, spotted that out and not actually broken as well as a result.
I'm not sure how much he saw, though. He was barely on it for a second. He's just looking for question marks on the mini-map. Don't know whether he saw any.
Yeah. The round has been slowed down to a crawl, though.
But again, prxvseg have got their defensive players in the right site, unless this is a pivot.
Ball's broken. Fault line as well to try and play Kang into this spot with a trip broken down. Something might want to make a go of things here to hit. He all popped off as well. Kang! That's a return of the fire. Something dropped. Now a B side could be that potential option, and a paranoia already wasted out. prxvseg no longer having that tool to play with smokes up in their face. Aftershock as well. Freak does peek up the flash and plays himself in, but EDG still holding strong. Not willing to be displaced from this position. prxvseg might have that surrounded, but again, they are fully aware. EDG knowing all the tricks at the sleeves of the prxvseg players, the C's of the connection, all the acknowledgement you need. An open sight for the taking on to C. And an impossible situation for Jing to play.
EDG baiting out so many of the tools that prxvseg wanted to play off. Absolutely broken something in that moment. He may never be the same player again after what Kang just did to him. But they baited out the showstopper. Jing found no value. Baited out all the flashes from Divide. Punish him with a shot to the head. 9-3. If there is a glimmer of hope, it is a dark, small light in a vast cavern.
EDG just pulling off absolutely unreal comeback overall in the series when they just got flattened map one. The resilience is on display, and at the back of their minds, an unwillingness to go home. They need to prove that they can reach greater heights than they have done before in the past, and it starts with getting past an old rival. It starts with getting out of the groups.
Playoffs on the horizon. Both of these teams, they're only a map win away from getting through to playoffs, and as Alex said earlier in the coach interview, having that extra lifeline, having the ability to troll a little and be experimental with what you're doing. But one of these teams is so much closer to that map victory than the other. Double Sheriff in the hands of EDG. Smoggy's been lights out anytime he's played on Lotus, anytime he's playing Clove.
And this is a squeeze being applied, at least to feign like they could be trying to fight over towards Mound and front section of B from EDG. I think the goal of it potentially is to cause a pivot from prxvseg into the high-low setup that they've got going on. At least with the Sheriffs, it's a cool strategy that EDG have brought out into the pistol, but
high-lows.
Yeah.
All over the place, on C, on A.
And this could tear prxvseg apart already, the peaks, if they're not timed correctly. which they're not. EDG ready for it. Nobody still alive towards the back of the site, and no anticipation that it could have peeked himself over it. 3 in a round, denied the 4, but Chichu is fully there, entirely for the cleanup.
Absolutely in control, EDG. If it went over towards A, high-low, set up towards stairs. Horn didn't get broken, full information, dropped back into a high-low setup, and Simon and nobody, the IGL and the newcomer, doing so much work.
One enemy remaining.
And that is elation because EDG can feel it. Primed and ready to pounce. That last spot of the playoffs. It's almost theirs for the taking. No force in sight from prxvssedg. Not opting into this one. They need the guns, but it is just shambolic. Oh. Smoggy. Pure mechanics on display, and he will just rip them all away.
11-3. EDG with no concept of mercy. No thought in the back of their mind of taking their foot off the neck of prxvssedg. Friends outside the server, bitter, bitter rivals inside.
One enemy remaining.
Smoggy is wiping them away.
And it is just pure elation, isn't it? A matchup that they've just failed in so many times against this team. For prxvssedg, guns in their hands. Now is the time to make the most of it. That a bit over aggressive. EDG making a go of things here. They're still hard committing into the fight. They make the call as well to try and at least collect themselves together, but the weaponry not favored on these long sight lines at least. prxvssedg essentially just swat away these EDG players.
This was a strat that Foot very much struggled with. They found the right reaction by pushing into C, but then couldn't play the post plants properly. This time, prxvssedg hold on. And like you say, use that advantage of having the better long-range weaponry. EDG are not going to fight like that in every round, though. It's something they'll throw in occasionally, and maybe less so now that prxvssedg have showcased they're willing to stand their ground and fight. Forsaken, it is good to see him pop in heads. He was notably absent on Sunset. A bit more passive, a bit more supportive on the breach, and he couldn't find the rifling.
Round by round.
Dude, I mean, that is like water off a duck's back with the pressure for prxvssedg. They are just having fun with it.
I mean, they've been in these positions before. They know the secret. It's just to have a short-term memory.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I mean, that's just so funny.
Devi is right on the money, though. It has to happen round by round, one at a time. Orbs farmed up. Mass migration now over towards the A side here. Chichu is alone taking this angle, but there's less to really threaten him off this spot when there's no Viper in the play as well. He can just jiggle this one for a bit of util, and he's even got Simon to help him out. When the Trailblazer cleared its way through, I believe both rifles fired off something, but a dash to disengage and pull that one back. And around, Forsaken. Cam up forwards, he spotted Kang, but doesn't want to try and take that fight towards it. Nobody with the door opened up wide will have to at least concede that space, give it up and hold the C's. Now into his hands, lets it loose. What a connection! Just absolutely running over these players. prxvssedg steamrolled in the process. Jing, he'll have to do it all. But Aftershock and his back satchel away, and the aim reset just not there in time. EDG up to 12.
Match point.
Nobody's utility was phenomenal last time we got to watch them on Lotus. He had seizes all over the place, connecting, and he's doing it again. The seize is amazing, Smoggy's follow-up is great, and then he just jumps in knowing that the rest of his team's got his back. And I think a bit of that
This is it.
stoic nature
Listen,
needs to be given to Alex here.
and let's get back into the fight, because it could just be ending in a blink of an eye. The series, the tournament lifeline for prxvssedg. Warded and postured. As I've said prior, they can't hold a candle to the amount of util that EDG can just pull out. So the A-Rubble control is theirs for now. One way's
There.
Rejuvenated. prxvsedg holding, biding their time, waiting to strike. The counter spam is there, trapped up and around as well. Swinging through, Paranoia is there, Showstopper needs that value. Jing, he's on a life that's unexpected, up on the high ground. Chichu, he's trying to shut them down. Nobody's by his side, but the rifles, maybe. There's a lifeline. Into the hands of prxvsedg and still with a minute to play with.
Nobody's pushing out through B. Smoggy still with his ultimate. An eerie calm drops towards rubble. An area that's known so much bloodshed and almost all of it going the way of EDG in this map. prxvsedg have carved out a small opening. Do they think of the flank?
The flank timing, nobody could shut this down, Devi! The awareness is there.
Surely too difficult of a situation for Smoggy, even with how well he's been playing.
There's no time.
There's 15 seconds.
This time pressure could just spell defeat. And for Smoggy to be the hero his team needs in this spot, Devi planting, medal is used first, lowering them down, and spraying them down! Smoggy destroys the hopes and dreams of prxvsedg. Knocks them out of groups, revenge has been earned, and a playoff picture potential there. EDG, the chances for them to go on a run now, to reach greater heights than they have in the past, have never been more present.
Well, after map one, it did not look like we were going to be seeing EDG making their way to playoffs. The second Chinese team to get out of groups, behind explosive Trace, who surprised us all. But it is bitter disappointment there for prxvsedg. A team used to fighting for trophies, who've been in those spots before in grand finals appearances, overtaken this year domestically by Gen G, and now grouped for the second time at Champions in their history. A rough year sliding downwards for them. It's a long off season to think over what could have been, but it's hugs on stage. They respect EDG, and how could you not? This team rallied back and put on a show. And Smoggy's individual performance was outstanding.
That was elite. 21-6 is where he's ended it all.
Very fitting way for it to end.
Yeah, it really is. Despite EDG being the last to qualify here for our playoffs, they are right on time for it. And as I said earlier, the world is essentially their oyster. You get that fresh reset as you head into the playoffs as well. And for them, a chance as well to do a little bit better than the disappointment at Shanghai.
And not just Shanghai, this is only their second win this year at a global event. Had they gone home, it would have been devastating, their year as a whole. Not making it out of basically any situation. They got gifted that playoffs berth previously. Didn't necessarily earn it by beating international competition, but here today they have. They've turned a new leaf and are looking to try to bring that momentum further into playoffs. It's going to be a tough road ahead, but I have been impressed with this squad.
Yeah, the improvements I think that they've made, match in, match out, they've shown that resilience. I think even in just this series alone, they've shown that they can make those comebacks happen. Mental fortitude, however you want to describe it, but also just I think the strategy. There's a level that I saw from them in their match against G2 earlier, where they can anti-strat, they can play against the team's strengths. This is a squad that has that potential to go further, and now they've earned their chance to just do that entirely here. We're going to be sending it down to the stage in just a moment for that Horizon post-match interview. Not too sure who's down there as well, but not just that, yeah, Chichu. And also the setup as well for the draw show. We're going to be finding out exactly how our playoffs are going to be set up.